And obviously this house has curb appeal. And I know you wanted a pool with a view. Dude, what are you doing?
You said if I wanted to buy or sell a house in Central Florida that I should follow you.
On social media.
Oh, you got a link? Thank you.
And I'm here. I'm so excited to be here. It's been a while.
Yes, and we're so happy to have you on again.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, I forgot to share this out because I haven't been on here for a while. So pardon me for a moment. Okay, I'm done.
Hi, Andrew. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Caleb. How's everybody
Caleb
doing?
Here.
So nice to see
We got someone named Grand Circle Tour. No idea.
Oh,
good.
Yes,
Cindy's
don't stop.
here.
Don't stop,
Andrew.
Victor. Yes.
Lily.
Hello,
Hi,
hello.
Lily.
Yay.
All sorts of people here.
Yes. So we are pretty excited that we have a special guest on this evening. Was there anything that you wanted to talk about first, Justin?
Yeah. Oh, that's the wrong window. Oh.
Speaking of windows, outside of mine, you might hear some booming going on.
Yeah.
So it's 9 o'clock.
Boom, 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 boom.
So I just wanted to bring everyone's
Hi, Steve.
attention. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, the Magic Kingdom is telling me it's 9 o'clock. So
Oh. So no, I was just going to bring everyone's attention to another podcast, TV Trivia Pod. And the reason I'm bringing your attention to this, you can find them here, Linktree, TV Trivia Pod. Dan and I were on the most recent episode. They do TV and movie trivias. We answered trivia questions about the Disney movie Big Hero 6. So you'll have to go check them out to find out how well we did.
I have a feeling that you, in particular, did very well on this one.
I may or may not have a black belt in trivia.
wow, yes, absolutely. I wouldn't go against you.
No way. No way.
But yeah, so feel free to check them out. The latest episode, it's episode 134.
Okay.
With
Yay.
Dan and I from the Grand Circle Tour podcast.
Nice.
So
Nice.
Very good. We will check that out.
So, without further ado, we're going to introduce our special guest. Artist Jason Folkerts is here with us this evening, and we are going to grill him.
Yay.
Like we
about
do.
his background and his recent works and his new website,
Yes.
which he will talk about as well. So we're going to let Jason in on our hidden Mickey of the week. So let's go with that first, and we'll see if you guys can figure out where in the world this is.
So first of all, we have to figure out where the hidden Mickey is. So it's not easy to make out from this picture, but we do have a little help here.
Yes.
Now, the way the circles are in this,
they
forms a
overlap
hidden
each
Mickey.
other, and they're all the way around the grate. So does anyone know where this is located? Hi,
I don't
Paul.
Oh, we have Steve here. Hi, Steve.
Yep.
Lily,
And
watching the
Lily.
electric water parade from another group.
Oh, fun.
Oh.
Any idea, Jason?
Lily says it's really obscure.
It is.
Yes. We need to think about where those rocks could be. That
Well, that
floor.
is some kind of pavement, obviously,
Mhm.
like a cobblestone looking.
Steve says somewhere on Disney World property.
Okay,
You know,
Steve.
That's a very good guess, Steve.
Yes.
It feels like those grates we kind of see often. So it's kind of hard to place exactly where that is because I feel familiar with that. I feel like I see it all the time, but don't really see it, which is what the hidden Mickeys usually are.
Right. So Andrew says Disney Springs. We were really hoping that Mary was going to be here. Steve, where is Mary? Because we know that she's going to know where this is, because we have to be honest, we have no clue.
Yeah, I blame Chris. She found this and said, I have this hidden Mickey. Do you know where it's at?
I found the picture and then I didn't find out where it was, but I just think it's the coolest thing because it is so obscure. You think France, maybe, Andrew?
That seems like it could be. And now the park sounds right? So maybe over where Ratatouille is in that area? I don't know.
So, Steve, where's Mary?
She knows all of these.
Yes. Is Mary working still? Mary's usually here by this time. So, yeah. So we're going to, if we don't find out, we're going to, oh my goodness.
It's a standard tree skirt.
Yeah. I mean, it's just.
It's used in quite a few locations.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I believe, is from Fantasyland.
Oh, is it?
Okay.
Maybe near Seven Dwarfs Mine Train?
I would love to have one of those grates around one of my trees in my yard.
So pretty. Cool? Yes. So pretty.
Okay, so I guess you guys can do some research on this and maybe somebody can figure out.
We'll have to be on the lookout. Now that we know to look at those grates like that,
yes,
we'll be in more of a lookout stage there.
Yes.
I like that.
All right. And of course, that is brought to you by Victor Naraki at La Rosa Realty. And we've got... So we'll do it now.
Yes.
Perfect.
There we go.
Yes.
So that was brought to you by Victor Naraki of La Rosa Realty. You can find him at disneyatyourdoorstep.com. That will take you to a page of links to all of his sites, including his YouTube site, where he does weekly videos of things like places you can buy in Florida, in the Orlando area, as well as fireworks that he can see from his house. So,
yep.
Come be our
But
neighbor.
definitely go check him out. And if you're moving to the Orlando area for any reason, he can get you close to the magic. He is the guy to go to. So,
And if I
thank you
win the
very much.
lottery and I can afford to buy a house in Golden Oak,
Oh,
I will set him up for life.
yes.
All right.
All right.
So next up, we
yeah,
have
next.
the details. Our detail of the week. And here we have it.
Now, this is a tiny, tiny detail with a close-up shot underneath, of course. But for those who have seen Zootopia once or numerous times, like I have watched it, I love this scene of the little guy selling bootleg copies of Disney Blu-rays and DVDs out on the street corner. And you can see kind of the little pictures that are on it, but then when you've got this zoom in picture, you can see just what Justin was talking about earlier, not Big Hero 6, but Pig Hero 6. Oh, I just love this shot. And it is the tiniest detail, but that's Disney.
You know, and I love the center one there in particular because it's kind of like Max the horse crossed with Rapunzel.
Yes. Yes.
And fun fact, Alan Tudyk voices Duke Weaselton here, and in Frozen he voiced the Duke of Wesselton.
Yes.
I love the names too.
Jason, have you seen Zootopia? Jason, can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us.
Oh.
Oh.
He's not on mute.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, so our detail of the week is brought to you by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. If you're looking to travel to Disney or anywhere in the world, they can help you out. They can help you out with cruises. They can help you out with theme parks such as Disney or even Universal. They can get you on Disney cruises, Adventures by Disney, and even other cruise lines. So they're very friendly and helpful. It really helps to have a travel agent in your corner. If anything does go wrong on your vacation, they can always help you out. And it doesn't cost you anything. They get paid by the places you're going to instead of by you. So that helps you out as well.
Okay. I'm going to send him a message and tell him to sign out and sign back in. Maybe that will help.
Sounds good. Chippendale Rescue Rangers did the same thing with Disney bootleg. Oh, that's great, Caleb. Thanks for, that was fun. Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, even recently when they redid that, oh my goodness, that was a great one. It had a lot of fun stuff in there. It had a lot of old characters and comebacks and things. So that is great.
Oh, and Steve says that Mary is tracking down some medicine. She had to drive 45 minutes away to go get it.
Gotcha. Oh my.
Okay.
Very good. So I guess I am getting excited about this Saturday when I board a cruise again. So
And where are you going on this cruise now?
So this one will be an 8-day cruise. Yes, Saturday to the next Sunday. So someone asked me the other day, are you going to Animal Kingdom for Earth Day? I was like, no, wish I could, but I'm not going to miss it too much because that'll be my Castaway Key Day. So I love that day.
Right.
We are going to Bermuda and we are going to overnight there. So my husband is very excited to play golf in Bermuda. So that will be great.
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Fabulous. And we can hear you. That's great.
We were talking to you, and you.
I
And
know.
you're just kind of smiling at us. So it's like, I don't think he can hear us.
I was
When are you
doing my
guys gonna
best to read the
start?
list,
Okay.
but I don't know.
Oh, great.
I know that
Alright.
there was a great with a hidden Mickey. I know something about Rescue Rangers, and that's when I lost you. So.
Here we go. That's our improvising till we get everything here.
Yes. So, Jason, we want to welcome you once again to your first appearance on the Grand Circle Tour Live show. And we're going to ask you some questions and have you show your work. And Justin has some pieces of yours that he's going to pull up and show to people. But let's start out with some way back machine stuff. Okay. So where did you get your start in art at all? From
Yeah, if I mean, if you go way back, like if you ask any artist, it always started with, for me, and this is really the early origin stuff. I had a lot of energy as a kid, and my mother found out quickly that the one thing that worked for me to calm me down was she'd hand me a pencil or pen and some paper, and I could just sit there and draw. And it was just like a cure to make me be quiet. So I was really little. And so it was a great way to start my art career. Actually, when I was in church, I used to be really antsy. So she'd give me those little offering envelopes. I'd draw all over them.
Boy, I
And then at the
remember
end of the
doing
day,
that
she would
too.
actually put them in the hymnals, believe it or not.
Oh.
And I actually had somebody from that church years later come back when I was an adult, probably in my 30s, and said, we were going through these old hymnals. Is this you? And there was actually some of my old cartoons when I was
Oh
like
my
5 or 6.
gosh.
Yeah, so
That
that's why
is
that's a
so
very
cool.
early
Hello,
start.
Mary.
Yeah, but
That's
really,
right.
my start was I was always an artist. My family's a bit of an art background. My father was a farmer, but always an artist. My sister has real strong art ability. And then so I kind of grew up in that environment. But then when I was in high school, I think refined-wise, I had an excellent art teacher who just kind of opened some doors for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of moved beyond school. And then I was talking to some of you earlier that my first real professional kind of role was I did editorial cartoons for our local newspaper. Even when I started when I was in high school in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the Argus Leader. And I was still a teenager, and it was really cool. And it's back in the day, I kind of joked with my kids around all adults as well. But I said, back when papers were paper, and and they hired people to do cartoons, and they did editorial cartoons and things of that nature. So I kind of fell into it that way, and then then that's where I kind of began. Yeah.
Is that newspaper still around today online?
What is that again?
Is that newspaper still around today online? Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's really
great.
interesting. Yeah, the Sioux Falls Argus Leader in South Dakota. It's the city has tremendously grown. You know, when I was probably doing it, there was probably about 80,000 people in Sioux Falls, and then now I think it's a city of about 250,000. So it's really exploded as a city. But yeah, the newspaper's still there, but it's been gone online, and it's very different. And the newsroom looks very different, and the staff has been downsized and all that kind of stuff. But
so how did you wind
I'm just impressed. Sorry, I was going to say, I'm just impressed that as a high schooler, you were tuned into current events well enough to do editorial cartoons.
Yes.
And if I could be honest with you, all of you, I knew nothing about what was going on. I was never a student who was really into all the, the local politics, which they want state politics and national politics. And actually, I remember this. I had a subscription to like the U.S. News and World Report. They had you read that in your civics class at high school. And when I got the job at the Argus, I actually started to read the magazine, so I knew what to draw. Then it kind of began a love for me to read news and stuff like that. So it was very practical. But yeah, isn't that funny? And I learned quickly to kind of get invested. Now, I also learned when I did editorial cartoons, you kind of had to have an opinion. And it was always interesting because there was always two sides to an opinion. If I took a side, and then I did it all through college and stuff, people started recognizing who I was. They would come up, and I'd actually have people like argue with me. And I was like 20 years old, and I was like 19, and I was like, honestly, I don't know if I have that much of an opinion. They're just paying me to do cartoons, and I have to take it. I was just doing it. Kind of interesting, yeah.
It's just a cartoon, bro.
I know.
So you wrote out the illustration as well as drawing. You didn't have.
And
you created all of that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I did it when I was younger, and then I came back. We moved away, and then when I came back, they asked me to do some more cartooning for them. And I quickly learned that when I would let's go to a restaurant or whatever, that I'd sign my name. They say, "Are you that cartoonist guy?" with my name in Sioux Falls, and I would say, "Do you like the cartoonist guy?" And if they'd say, no, I don't always agree with them, I'm like, that's my cousin. But if they'd say, oh, we think it's great, we love it, I'm like, that's me.
It's me.
So I was like, and yeah, so it was kind of fun.
So how did you wind up being in South Dakota and getting to the Minneapolis area? What took you there?
Well, I've been around for a while, and for my age where it's at, so I've had some journeying here and there. I think it's interesting. I ended up here because I also have a real connection for like ministry. I was a youth pastor, and so back in the day, I did a lot of youth ministry at a church. And so my wife and I's first city that we got married was the Twin Cities, Minneapolis.
Oh,
we
okay.
were up here for church and at a Lutheran church up here, and we really fell in love with the Twin Cities. We just really, it was, I always think for us, we get married and we moved here. That first place, you buy your first house, and you get your first dog, and you get all these things are your first. And I think for us, for the about 7-8 years that we were here, those first years really kind of cemented to us. And then we moved around, did a lot of different things, and then about 2 years ago now, we moved back to the Twin Cities because we were at that point, like, where do we want to live? Our kids live nearby.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to live in the Twin Cities area for several years.
Oh, okay.
It was about 15 years ago now that I moved back here, but
Yeah. Yeah, we have friends here, and we just like like I said, we have my daughter and her husband live here, and my son actually is in Colorado. He's a teacher, but our other daughter, who's finishing up next year, or last year in college down in Illinois, I think she'll probably end up back in Minnesota. So it's kind of nice to be close to everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I really personally, I want to take a really deep dive into your most recent project that you have done, which is the Toontown pieces, but we're going to do some other stuff first and then we'll get to that. So Justin's got one ready to pull up, so we want you to talk about this one first.
Yeah.
Hey, I know that guy.
And I know that this just got sold, did it not?
Well, yeah, it's this one. I was kind of like a lot of my work. I sometimes, some of it is like I'm very specific about what I want to head down. This one was just kind of on a whim. My wife was actually going to see my daughter in Illinois, and I was home, and I don't know why I went this way, but I just started drawing Mickey, which I was actually kind of practicing. Mickey is a lot harder. Just so y'all know, Mickey is actually a very kind of a challenging character to draw. People would think it's easy, but circles, making a nice concentric circles in the right size are not always easy. So I always kind of practice, And as I was doing it, I thought, how can I do Mickey in a different way? Because we're so used to seeing Mickey. And at the same time that was going on, this is kind of funny. Music, I love listening to music when I'm drawing. And I was listening to the soundtrack for the upcoming new Guardians of the Galaxy movie, with another Marvel or Disney thing. And they were playing all these 70s tunes. And so I thought, how can I do Mickey with a bit of a 70s vibe? And keep it like kind of pop art, something different. So I don't know why, but I just started putting circles in there. So I think there's about 5,000 to 6,000 little circles in this thing.
Wow.
I love this piece.
I do
think
too.
It's so cool. I just love how you put that whole circles, and it's got, do you have any hidden Mickeys in the circles?
And I'm going to be honest, I do.
Okay.
But I'm not going to tell you where it's at. But
Okay.
you can look. But when I had one person contact me afterward, they said, you should do an entire one made up of all, the Mickey, the 3 circles for the whole thing, And then I started thinking how long it took me to do these circles. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. I don't know.
Yeah, I love that kind of mosaic look that this has.
Yeah, it was fun to do, and it is. I had, like I said, my wife was gone for 3-4 days, and I had some time here at home in the weekend, and I wasn't doing anything, so I had the time to sit and draw circles. But it was kind of fun, and I kind of wanted to capture. I don't know if I would say a certain park, but it kind of has a little bit of the Epcot vibe with this, I don't know. I think that there's for me when I do stuff, I draw drawings from a lot of different angles, and Disney's one thing I like to do a lot of, and I always try to think of how can I draw something that's very familiar, but add a little bit different twist to it, or something that I haven't seen done before as well. So to me, it's more fun to try something a little different. So I think what I'm going to do with this is it kind of modeled it to the sense of how I would change some things, but I'm going to do a Donald, Goofy, Minnie, Daisy.
Oh, awesome.
We'll do the main main characters. And then I think after that, I might branch off. And if people like it, I might end up doing some ones from some of the Pixar things or whatever.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Love
So
it.
how long does it typically take you to make a creation like this?
You know,
I know
think-
you said 3 days on this one, but how much time do you typically spend on everything?
Well, you know, I'll be honest with you, on this one, people are a little shocked. I probably have about, and you're going to not believe me, but I probably have, it's 3 days, but probably somewhere between 3 to 4 hours on this.
Wow.
One thing that political
Amazing.
cartooning, I also was a caricature artist, and I worked for advertising agencies in my 20s. And so the thing that I learned how to do, and it's really been a benefit for me in getting work, is I can draw. I've learned to draw very fast, and I've learned to work very fast. I'm pretty quick. And if you've been to my Facebook page, you know, you wrote that I do some live drawings sometimes, or I'll do that. And I work pretty quickly, so I can usually lay something out fast once I get into a rhythm. So not too bad, you know. It's not as much as you think.
All right. Justin, you got another one? Yeah, here we go.
Oh, there it is.
We are going to talk about this a little bit. Do you have these still in your
Yeah, I
possession?
have them.
Okay, good.
They're sitting right on my table right in front of me. Yeah.
Because I think that these are just absolutely amazing.
And maybe this is a better picture of
Very
it.
good. Yes.
So this has kind of become a bit of my style or my marquee when it comes to more and more to the Disney stuff that I like to draw. And I think people are starting to recognize that more and more. And I think I'm starting to lean into it more. I'm finding I'm trying to find a bit of a niche of what I think I love doing, and two, something different for people to see, either about the park or the characters. But I really enjoy, this is where it starts. I love the park so much. I mean, that's really my passion and love. My family and I fell in love with it. My kids, when they were younger, we went a lot. And when I would walk around, I was always amazed at the design of it and the creation. I felt like, you know, you were literally walking into the pages of the movies or the experience of the whole thing. So I just started drawing the buildings. I started drawing it. And then I started having fun with more of the cartoon style and a little bit more of the caricature style of the buildings and trying to add a little twist. And then I really like working in a more vertical panel kind of design. I've done quite a few of these. I don't know why. I think part of it is it elevates a little bit of the drawing and makes it kind of soar a little bit. And I like colors. And so Toontown, the reason I did this is, as you know, in Disneyland, we used to live in Los Angeles. We went there all the time. I've always enjoyed Toontown, but I have to be honest, I think in the last couple of years, a number of years we've gone, it got run down. You know, it just felt like it was getting older. Well, I was really excited that they renovated it, reimagined it. They added a dark ride with the Runaway Railway. And they just kind of revived that energy. And I thought a lot of people are liking it. I had some people telling me that went out there how much they enjoyed it and what they brought some changes to it. So I thought, yeah, it's time for me to do this. So I have a series of 6, and they have Mickey's house and Minnie's house and Goofy's house and Donald's boat. You have the, of course, I like the cartoon spin ride with Roger Rabbit. I always thought that was a great movie. And finally well, I don't have this one on here. You don't have it up. There's only 5, but I also have I did the new Runaway Railroad front of that as well. So it's a series of 6
that one
drawings.
is really cool too. Yeah.
And this one.
Yeah, it's up there. You can see it. It's the one down the left-hand corner.
Yeah.
That's the new one. Yeah. So it was fun to do.
Yes.
And a bit of a
So
hidden
you prefer
right here.
buildings over characters, or does it matter on the day? Buildings or characters or scenery and
Yeah, I don't know. You know, that's a great question, Beatrice. I think sometimes I'm very intentional about what I want to do, and I have a real plan in mind, and I'm very methodical about where I'm going. But I'll be honest, whatever the first one I do on these, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of it. So I'll be honest, the first one I did was Mickey's house. And if you look closely at this little hint here, I had just gotten some new colored pencils. And so I had never really worked with them before. So that one with a pen is colored pencils. The second one I did, I think, was Donald's boat. You're going to look, if you look closely, they look a little different in color and style and variation and everything. And I noticed it really quickly. But I realized if I did the one, I liked it. Then I thought, I'll do another one. It just kind of sets the pattern of where I want to go as far as the look for the rest of them. And keep them kind of consistent. For example, you'll notice all the suns and stars. That's another thing I try to add to a lot of my illustrations. I always put a sun or a moon or star. And I always kind of take it a little bit of the dark ride. So if it's a ride that's a dark ride, it's usually always at night.
Okay.
And so on this one, it's on there. But this one, of course, the Runaway Railway, it's more of like an evening kind of shot. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Oh
like-
yeah, this I'm glad you
Oh,
grabbed
I like
one.
this one too. Yeah.
This one's gotten more comments on my Facebook page and from people than I just kind of blew up. Again, kind of a weird thing. My kids asked me one day, "What's behind door 33?" Because I was telling them. So then, when they were really little, I just totally played with their minds. I just messed with them because they were young and they didn't know any better, right? Whatever. So I would say all sorts of stuff, and they would always say they wanted to go behind there because. And I don't know if this is true, but I think they added a doorknob later. But I think the original door for a while there wasn't a doorknob actually. Going back a number of, I don't know. I have to look into that. But of course, we all know that was I think intended originally to be Walt's apartment, if I'm correct in saying that, or an entrance to get there that he was having built had he lived past 1966, where he could go and stay overnight or whatever when he was in town. So then they've now, of course, turned into a restaurant, and it's become a very VIP space. And if you're a Disney fan, you know all about Club 33. But so with this one, I just drew it out of more of a memory for my kids and a thing. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to say, and who knows what's behind the door. So
Yeah. Who knows?
Because of this one, I wore my Club 33 earrings. I've been able to go back there. So I saw
and that
this
one,
piece.
this one's also for sale on just the original. And by the way, on my website, when I sell stuff, it's all originals. I don't sell prints. I just sell an original. So, I'm fast. I draw things, but
yeah. So while we're talking about that, let's talk about polkadotstudios.biz and tell people what goes on your website and what you've got available and things like that.
Yeah, it was really, it kind of came out of a dream of mine in a sense. I have a daughter who just graduated from Minneapolis College of Art and Design. She is amazing, far better than her daddy in the art world. She has all these different levels that she can do things far beyond. I draw cute cartoons and fun illustrations, but she can 3D sculpture, paint. I mean, she does it all. And so we have been talking for a while. And for a while, I also owned a mural company. So going back a little bit, for 10 plus years, I did murals at high schools and different places and buildings and all that, all around the Midwest. Did about 165 murals. And so on a number of those, when she got into high school and a little older in the summer, especially, she would travel with me and kind of be my assistant. So we started working together back when she was in high school. As she was finishing up her college degree, we began talking, and we thought the two things where we have very much in common is that we love to do education. We have a real passion and heart for educating students on the arts. And we also love doing art. And she's much more like, again, 3D sculpture and block printing work and things like that. So as we were getting close to graduation, we said, well, why don't we just open a studio together and start just see where that goes and provide different services. And one of those would be education. And we're going to start developing classes online. Well, online, we want to do that, but we also want to do a lot of live classroom work with students as well. And then also sell some of our original work. And then other projects that come up. I'm also, one of the things that I do on the side is I do some exhibit design for museums and things like that, because I was also a director of a museum. So for me, I've always enjoyed creating and designing things like that. So that's kind of where it started. It's very much in its genesis form. Right now, we just kind of got the website up, and we're going to develop classes heading into the summer. And we're going to move in that direction. We're selling some of our original work, but just a few pieces. We're not pushing too heavily until we get our feet on us, underneath us on this. But we're excited by it. And yeah.
Very nice.
The website.
And I get to work with my
great,
daughter, who I love, and we just love to, she's amazing, and you get a chance to see her just blossom as far as her artistic skills. And so I couldn't be a more proud dad. And then I get to hang out with my kid,
Will you both be teaching the art lessons? Because I saw that it would be monthly or a full semester of private lessons and that kind of thing. So will you both be on there teaching together?
Yeah. To be fair, with my schedule and other things that I'm involved with, I probably will not be on percentage of time doing as much as my daughter. We'll kind of see how that rolls, but definitely I'll be teaching, and I'll probably lean more into doing cartooning classes and some comic book and comic hero design classes and things like that. So that's kind of where it's going. She'll probably be a little bit broader in that and tackle some of the bigger, broader type of art things. Yeah.
So Cindy wants to know, well, first of all, she says, I like the name Polka Dot. How did you decide on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. My daughter, when she was at Minneapolis College of Art and Design, did a number of amazing installations there. It's a phenomenal art school. It's one of the best in the country. Minneapolis is huge. Some of you might, if you've been around here, you know that. The art scene here is phenomenal. One of the best cities in America for art. And so they always put on these amazing installations. And one of the things that she did in her final installation as a senior this last year was she did a whole world, and it's hard to describe in words, you have to see it, but incorporated all these polka dots over all these items. So she had like a dining room table and chairs and all sorts of stuff. Like it was almost walking into another world. But the one thing was that it was polka dots everywhere. And so I think out of that came the idea of the polka dot studio. Because again, we really want to focus on families and kids a lot. And we kind of felt like kids like polka dots. You know, who doesn't like that? The Dalmatians, right? Everybody loves them. So
Right.
yeah.
I think of
I know we had some questions for you about some things that you were involved in for
Sure.
we jump back into your pieces.
I was going way back into some of your children's books that you illustrated. And now I'm wondering, would you ever consider doing some sort of a comic book with some of the things that it sounds like you're going to be teaching us?
Well, I've messed around with that. You know, I've done 6 children's books. And I was jokingly, I say 3 of them did really, really well, or pretty well. And 3 of them, I don't know. Maybe you can find them somewhere on a shelf. I don't know. You know, and I really enjoyed doing it. That was a season of my life where again, but timing's a lot of it. I think out of my editorial cartooning years, I was able to make some connections. People saw me. So I was actually approached by some authors who had some pretty strong name recognition in the state of South Dakota. It was actually a former attorney general from the state of South Dakota and the former treasurer of the state of South Dakota. And they had a whole idea of doing a series of books about history and mystery and adventure. And also just teaching students about all the amazing things, especially in the state of South Dakota originally. So I did a couple of books with them. They won some awards and did really well. And I just really enjoyed it. On the other hand, it's always challenging when you work with a publisher. And I remember bringing a lot of my illustrations back when I did the cartooning, especially editorial. I would just kind of do it, lay it out there. And it was, you know, I would do it. And there wasn't a lot of overly editorializing of my work. And then when I got into the children's book world, when I was pretty young, I got into that. I was stunned at how many things they would come back and say, you need to change this, change that. You know, you got to have this kids, move them this way. And this was all before, you know, computers were fully integrated and doing all this. And I was like, I got to go back to the drawing board again, you know. You know, and it
literally.
Literally.
Like we had these 2 books called The Mystery of Books. So The Mystery of the Round Rocks and The Mystery of the Tree Rings. And I drew so many rocks, and I was like, I can't, like having 10 rocks high. No, can you make it 7 rocks? I'm like, oh my word, you know.
Now your rocks are polka dots.
Yeah.
It's the circle of life.
Yeah, so I liked it. It was fun working with the authors, and they were amazing. And Dave Volk, still a friend. Unfortunately, Mark Meyerhenry, who was the Attorney General of our state for many, many years, passed away. But Dave and I are still a friend, and he and I actually worked on 2 other books together, 2 other books outside of those other books. So he's a great guy, and I love the whole process.
Nice.
When I was looking back at everything, I actually am very interested in getting My Grandpa's War, because my dad was in Vietnam, and this is told from a 9-year-old girl. I would love I'd love to see this story because of the history of my family. I was like, wow, as I'm preparing to talk to you, I'm like, wow, you drew the pictures in that. I'd love to see from her side.
That was an amazing story. You know, Dave was a Vietnam veteran, and he was super involved nationally. He actually served under Ronald Reagan to put some veteran things in place. And so Dave is a lot of respect for him. He was a reporter. He went over as a reporter in Vietnam. And so went over there and was put right in the front lines and saw all this stuff going on. And you know, it really changed his life. And he also came back and he realized that for a lot of the grandpas, as he was, getting older, trying to communicate to an elementary student at that time about that war and, that whole journey that they were on and what they had to go through over there. And we know all the political side of that. But how do you tell that to a child, a grandchild about that? And so it was a really well-written book about taking her to DC and reconnecting with some of the stories of his friends back then. And yeah, it was a cool story.
How nice.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being a part of that.
There's not a lot of children's books on the Vietnam War,
No.
And so we would travel and go to schools, and Dave would give a bit of a talk to elementary age students, and they had the book geared for about an 8 to 12-year-old. and they just, I think they were fascinated because that's something that they probably hadn't heard a lot of, about at that age. So it was really good. It was really good. Yeah.
Well, thanks for being a part of something so special. That's really good.
Thanks. Yeah. It was a cool experience. And I got
Yeah.
to meet a lot of war veterans, and it was just a privilege. Yeah.
Okay, Justin, what do you got next for us?
No, for something completely different.
Yes.
Yeah. I kind of, this one I was at Disneyland about 2-3 months ago, and I ran up there for a day, and I got a chance. I've been there twice since they've done Galaxy's Edge, and I've always enjoyed the design. I love design, and I love, that's the other side of my life. I love designing things. And to me, in my opinion, and I know this is you guys love Disney, I think this or Pandora, uniquely different, but the level on which that they went into to create this environment of walking into a world of Star Wars or Pandora Avatar, it's mind-boggling. And I love to draw images from that park area. I think, I wish people, sometimes I'm walking around, I want to grab people and go, can you just stop and take a minute, take a look at that garbage can they designed? It looks, it isn't a normal garbage can. It's designed like something you would see in a Star Wars movie.
Yes.
It is the Imagineers' capstone. I just think they were, and I love what they designed with the Millennium Falcon and that whole courtyard. It is, in my opinion, some of the most brilliantly designed vistas. At any angle you look, so it's fun to draw. So when I was there, I had my sketchbook. I quickly sketched this out. I was doing some sketching, and then I came home quickly. And this one was pretty fast. I wish, looking back on it now, I didn't do as much detail as I do with some other pieces I've done. But I just thought, this is cool. I want to draw it up to remind myself of how cool that park is,
Yeah,
So Lily wants to know
a lot
how
more
long
detail than I could do.
Yeah, really. So Lily wants to know how long it took you.
Boy, you guys like the length. That's a tough one. This one probably took a little bit longer, but not as long as you would think. I probably did a fast pencil sketch in about 30 minutes to a half hour. And then I just went in and did the inking here and there. I'd come home at night and work on it. So probably I have about 4 or 5 hours in that.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
That would take me like 10 years. So
And I like working with black and white. I don't know if you like, I have some here, I'll show you, but to me, I've done about 25, maybe more, maybe 40 drawings like this, even far more detailed than that, of different areas. And this one's really popular, the view, but I try to now draw angles, or I try to draw things that you wouldn't find anywhere else, like in a magazine. You wouldn't see it drawn in a store, or I try to look at it from a different angle. So I have some ones that are very obscure, but they're kind of fun to look at,
yeah.
the detail. Like I did the lobby of the Tower of Terror, but I did it from a floor angle, like if you were a mouse looking up in the lobby. And that was probably my favorite. I did the queue.
I bet Skipper Jay would like that one.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
Yeah, I have it, but you know what? I'm not going to pan back. Like I have it. I'll show you, for example. And I also did one of Walt's horse, but like this is an example of this is in the. So if you go right there, is that good? Yeah. So if you go on the Peter Pan ride in Disney World, Orlando,
The queue.
this is in the bedroom. The queue. So I just took a photograph of it.
And Tinkerbell flies by.
And then I came home and I just decided I have one more here, like the Tiki Room. I took a photograph of one of the.
Oh, I love that.
Of the talking, statues. I was sitting right by it. It was like above my head, and it was hilarious. It's kind of scared me. I looked behind me. So I took out my camera and I took a quick picture of it. I came back home. I was like, oh, I kind of like that angle. I just love all the little. And the black and white, I think, really does nicely.
Oh yeah.
Like this. And then
That's
one more
good choice for that one. Yeah.
Here's one I did of this one's a little different. This is in the Toy Story, I guess. This would have been in Tokyo. But I liked it because it had the writing down here.
Yeah.
In a different language. So I thought that was and again, just a different angle of looking at the park at night. I haven't been there. I just took that one. I had to look at it online. And then I'll do one more. I don't know if you want to see one more. It's more detailed.
Sure.
Of course we do.
Yes.
If you like.
We're here to see your work.
Yes. We can do this all
So these will
night.
be on your website, so we can purchase the originals on your website?
Yeah,
soon?
I will get there. Yes, eventually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of these I haven't yet, but I think I will. I've got so many. I just need to get them out there. But,
I love that.
so this one was, I took a picture on the backside of the fireworks or something was going on. I don't know if it was over in California Adventure, Disneyland. And then I thought it was okay. And I don't know why, but I thought I'm just going to add a pirate ship in the moon. So
It's perfect.
I love
flying
it.
over Disneyland.
Oh, I love
and
it.
then I'll do one more Star Wars. One of the
Yeah.
so that's,
Oh, that's great.
That is
So
so
that's from
cool.
Rise when you're going through that room.
it is. And you look up. Yeah. I love that. I'm a Star Wars guy. So I thought, And then I do a lot of other black and white ones that are more illustrative of things that we like. And I maybe add a character to a black and white. I haven't done as many of those. I know I have the Haunted Mansion here somewhere. Here, right here. So this one, oops. This one's like
Oh, yay.
Oh, it's a
I love
11
caretaker.
by 17.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I thought it'd be kind of fun to add him at the gate because he's kind of like the guy out there welcoming you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
those,
that's awesome.
those take more time. Those are time consuming. They take a little bit more time to do some of those. Like that one I did of like Toy Story or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of investment in that because you zoomed in. I mean, I try to get every little detail and shadow I could find.
Have you done any from inside the Haunted Mansion?
Yes, I have. I have. I don't know if I have any here I can show you, unfortunately. I'm a big Haunted Mansion fan, and so I've grabbed a bunch. I don't know.
Look at
I
this
know I
Star
have
Wars Haunted Mansion. He fits right in with this crew.
Yeah.
I guess
Oh,
here's
absolutely.
here's an outside the one down in Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
I've seen that one, I think, on your website or you were
Yeah.
showing it somewhere. That was great.
Now this one I love because I love that angle when you walk up on the ride. And then I took some liberty and added some gravestones and things like that. But and a vulture. But I do a lot of things with caricature. And this one was a black and white one. I think people like those a lot. And then I try to find stories. So like this one's on the website too. But this was actually the carousel horse at Disneyland. And supposedly, I asked someone, supposedly this is Walt's favorite horse that he would love to put his girls on.
Okay.
So Walt actually had a favorite horse on the carousel. I guess this is the one. So it's kind of fun to draw that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like to draw things that have a story, and I like to draw things that connect people to a story if at all possible. So
Sure.
yeah.
Well,
And
that
I'll
is-
show you. Well, I don't want to put anybody I had this on my website today, but I found it for tonight. Like I said, I'm a big fan. I've also done some paintings. I try to use color, so I was messing around. I had sketched up on Pandora, and then I came home. Now the weird thing was, it's kind of crazy to draw because it's just a lot of vegetation and everything like that. But I loved it, and it's hard to see on here, but I loved it when I was watching it. They have these waterfalls that come down, and at nighttime especially. And if you've been down there, and I'm sure you have, at night, you just sit down and watch the water. It's just, it's absolutely breathtaking. And I thought to myself, is that a happy accident? But on every angle you look, and the water coming down, the lighting, and the way they do it, and the music, I mean, it's absolutely astounding.
It is,
what
yeah.
they do.
It takes you to another place. You hear like the animals are in the forest
Yeah.
behind you, and you just feel like you're in another world. Absolutely.
It's
So,
impossible.
I love that.
Yeah. Even when I do drawings and stuff, and they haven't been to like places like that, I'm like, you really can't do justice to it. I mean, you just have to go and be in it to understand what they've done. But in my own small way, when I go, that's probably the reason I like to draw. I draw a lot of things in a lot of different ways, and not just, of course, Disney, a lot of different art. But for me, I think the joy of drawing, especially the attractions and the things that are there, the composition, if you will, my mind, because I worked in a museum with exhibits, and the level, we're a small fry compared to what they were doing. The level of detail and respect I have for putting that together as a picture is just, it's so much fun. Like every angle you look, take a picture, it's like you should draw that. It's just so well done, It's,
Absolutely.
it's incredible.
Yes.
So
And I'm not an artist, but I love to think of how, why you prefer black and whites over color, or pencils versus oil, or, things like that, how you developed your preferences on things. How did that come about over the years of you deciding that you like to go this route?
Yeah, sometimes I think it just depends on, and this is going to sound like a really strange way to answer it, but I'm sometimes just fascinated with the tools that you could use. And so sometimes, like if I get a new pack of colored pencils, that's where that you know, that house of Mickey came about. So I felt it had like a real playful look to it. Like, I'll just do that. On the other hand, I about a year ago, I started getting into called Pentel brush pens, and it's like fine hair brush pens. Well, you know, that just lends itself to doing some really cool black and white things.
Yeah.
And so I started drawing in that, whatever that is. So it's a Haunted Mansion. I think with a Haunted Mansion, it's really nice to go with black and white and maybe just a subtlety of some blues, give that nighttime feel. So sometimes it is the thing that you're drawing. Like with Pandora, our avatar, there's so much color with the greens and all that too. It lends itself better to probably go with color than black and white. On the other hand, I don't know. Like I just did this for a friend the other day in a fundraiser they're doing. He's a big Mandalorian fan.
Oh, wow.
Love it.
Boca Raton. And so Katie Sackhoff, who plays this character, is actually going to come to this fundraiser that he does, Voices Against Cancer. And he invites all these people coming. Well, she's coming. She's coming. This will be her second year that she's there. And so I wanted to donate something. And so I drew this up, and I'm going to give it to my friend, and then Katie Sackhoff will autograph it, and they'll auction it off. But on this one, as I watched the show, I was like, okay, the character and who she plays and kind of like that, it lends itself to a bit of color, but I wanted to make it kind of earthy, you know, the blues and the moon and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So
Very
yeah,
cool.
it's better. It
I
started
love
as
it.
just a blue, blue drawing. Then I made it black and over the blue. And then I was kind of like, I watched an episode and I liked the way they did the lighting. And I'm like, I want to add some, you know, browns and different colors. So
Yeah, she's very cool.
Yeah.
So since we're on the Star Wars thing, Justin has another picture from something you did a long time ago.
oh yeah.
So tell us
I know
the
that guy
story
too.
of this.
Yeah, that was probably, boy, I don't know when it was, maybe 10 years ago. So another part of my life, there's so many different things I've done over the years. I still have occasion, I still do it, but I used to do it quite a bit. I would do live art. So I would show up at an event, and for this thing, it was, I remember this, it was May 4th, comic book day at a big comic book place. And they invited me in, and they had all these people going in and stuff. They wanted a live artist. So I drew, when they were waiting in line to go in, these hundreds of people, they wanted me outside and stuff. It was great because throwing paint around. And so while they were waiting, I drew this live Darth Vader picture painting while people were going in on that day. Yeah. And that was fun. And then the evening, I went to a movie. That was the night that they did one of the opening movies. I think I did Kylo Ren, maybe. And so I did a much bigger one, 4x8. And then right in the lobby of the movie theater, they had this big premiere. I was throwing paint, and I did big Kylo Ren too. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And I get invited, like I used to do this quite a bit, but I would get invited to like music festivals, corporate events, things like that. And I would just do live paintings to music or to whatever to entertain people. And I did that for quite a while. I haven't done it in quite a while. My church asked me to do one recently for just recently for our worship. It's on my Facebook page, a live painting. And what I did is I incorporated a tree because it was incorporated with a message, and then underneath in the roots, it was the form of a cross. And so kind of put all that together. And then we had a fundraiser.
That was really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, the church. Yeah, if you want to go on my Facebook page, Jason Folkerts, just look me on Facebook and you'll see it. That one was auctioned off as well, and all that money went to the CYF department at the church that I'm at. So yeah.
Okay. Before we have to wrap things up, can you please show us those?
Oh yeah.
The Toontown things so we can see them close up and personal.
So this was the Mickey one.
Okay.
And that's where we started it. And then actually I think I did, there's Goofy's. So here's Goofy's house. I decided to add Mickey in a plane. That was kind of fun.
I love that.
Plane crazy, right? Then my kids like this one the best. My daughter does. She just likes dinosaurs.
I love
Maybe
it.
because she liked it when she was a kid running in there. But and here's Minnie. And I didn't realize this, but there's like a little mailbox or a little planter mailbox down here for Minnie's house. It's kind of cool.
It is very cute. I love the color combination.
And then the last two, the two dark rides. Whoops, we'll go this way. It's backwards probably, but there you go. So this is Roger Rabbit's Toontown Spin, and then of course this is the newest ride, the Runaway Railroad. Which again, I'm not trying to say one's better than the other, but I think the entrance that they designed and built in Disneyland is kind of cool, and I think it's a little cooler looking.
Oh yeah,
than the
way,
one down in. I know they adapted it, but
I haven't been in it,
It
but
fits the style of the ride better, I think.
Yeah.
yeah, it does.
Yeah, it fits the
does.
theme.
Yeah.
So these are probably I'll sell them on my website soon. So keep your eyes peeled on. I mean, on the Polka Dot Studios, the originals, autograph them, whatever. Yeah. And then if I show one more thing, I don't know if we have. Do we have any folks from Canada? But when I say
Oh, we do, but he's not here.
Okay, he'll probably like that. So
Yes.
I don't think anybody's ever drawn the outside totem and the building of the Canadian exhibit at Epcot.
That is so cool. I love
So
it.
this one's actually more in all color pencil, a black color pencil. I just sat down and did it. But the reason I'm putting on it, I thought, so all you Canadians and everybody, I don't think anybody's done this at Disney yet. There you go. We did one
There
for
you go.
So
Yeah.
Yes, our one co-host, Captain Stan Solo,
There
is
you
from
go.
Winnipeg. So
you can show them that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We will love that.
I have one question to ask, and I know that this is very difficult to answer because people ask me that about my work and I can't really pick something. So do you have any particular piece that you have done over your career that you would say is your absolute favorite piece of work?
That's like
done
your favorite child, isn't it?
thousands of illustrations. Yeah.
I don't know. There's just some things that really stick out,
Yeah.
and you
Like
think,
something
oh,
that I would
wow.
never let go of, or I really. Well,
Yeah.
I'll show you one. I'll show you this. I have several. Probably if there's a top 10. And some people ask me, what was the first drawing that you ever did of like a building or something in the Disney thing? That and then I, for me, and I said, well, just for my own enjoyment. When my kids were little, I would draw things for them and put in their rooms and things like that. I think this was probably about 2008 or 9. And I think it's the first one I ever drew. I'll show it to you. This is the first one I ever drew of.
Oh,
nice.
I love
So on
that.
this one, I had gone to the park. I remember that we came home or whatever, and I did 4 drawings like this in a series, but I wanted to add compasses, and I chose this, the Jungle Cruise, the Haunted Mansion, and the Matterhorn, and this was I think this is officially the first drawing that I ever did of like any kind of building or castle or anything at Disneyland. Yeah.
okay.
And I think this one, and then the other one that that I really have a heart for that I did is one I did years ago for my son in his room. I drew a large Batman, and I did the Batman, but I had made it kind of 3-dimensional. And what I loved about it, I used splatter effect over the whole thing with like a glow-in-the-dark paint. So when at night you turn off the lights, at least for about 15 minutes, we lay in his bed, and it looked like Batman was kind of like hovering over him with the bat signal in the skyline.
Oh my.
Yeah, that one was just fun to do because I know that he got a kick out of it, and it was just a really pretty cool looking visual. And I know that it brought him a lot of joy when I can bring joy to my family, my kids, other people. I give them gifts like this. It's
Right.
pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I have this one piece that I've done that I can never sell it because it has so much meaning to me, because when we were first getting our house ready to sell up north, and I was starting to freak out about a lot of things, and I had a major meltdown, and I just went downstairs and I started painting, and what came out of that, like anxiety and everything, was like one of the best things I've ever done. So I can never ever part with that.
Well, and for me, we talk a lot about Disney because of this podcast. I mean, that's a small part of it. For me, a lot of what I do with Polka Dot is not Disney, but creating a lot of my own cartoons. And that's kind of like what I'll show you, like for stuff like this.
I love that monster. He's so cute.
Yeah. So
Yes.
these, I did this just the other day. I was playing around with gouache, and I just wanted to see if I could do it and just having fun. So this is the stuff that I will do and make prints and give to people, or things like. This is the stuff that I do a lot of too, is I'll make like commission pieces. Like this is Bono. And those are the ones that for me, or people will ask me to do something because they're into they want to get something for their dad who's a golfer and hang it in,
Oh,
whatever.
fun. Yeah.
And because of the licensing and stuff, these are originals that I can sell and I will make prints of and then get it out there and that way. So, that's for me when you ask about things I like pieces. I have some cartoons that I did way back when that I did a newspaper, and I hang on to those because I don't know, either a lot of people liked it or it was a bit controversial, or I do have a couple pieces that were signed. I have a piece that I did when a very prominent politician in South Dakota died. His son reached out to me with a special letter, really appreciating what I did to honor that and stuff. So, those are the little things. I have one other thing I've shared with you. I have a lot of heroes in the art world. I have a lot of signed pieces and a lot of signed artwork from I have a pretty big art collection. And one I cherish a lot is a guy by the name of Chris Brown, who did Hagar the Horrible.
Okay.
Oh,
And Chris actually moved to Sioux Falls, South Dakota from Florida. And he, for the last part of his years, last 15, 20 years of his life, lived in Sioux Falls and did his comic strip from there. And I was doing editorial cartoon. I was a young guy and younger, and I was just doing it. And he had sent me a personalized letter and a little cartoon and a drawing on there. And from this guy who's heralded around the world for Hagar and all that, he just said, I really, really love looking at your cartoons and what you're doing creatively, and just kind of oohed and awed. And I just was like, oh my gosh.
that means a lot.
When I was a little kid, I used to read his books. And he just, so little stuff like that, I'll never get rid of,
Yeah.
And I have a signed thing for one of my favorite comic book artists, Neil Adams, who died also recently. And Neil's one of my favorite comic book artists. I met him, got to know him a little bit at a convention, and he and we talked art and all that kind of stuff. And he signed a special Batman. And I have another one signed by Doug Mankey here, who's a Batman artist. And those things always mean a lot,
Yeah. Well, Jason, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We'll have to have you back so you can go into some more detail.
Great. I love it. And I'll listen to your podcast and all you're doing. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So everyone, thanks for joining us this evening. We are so happy that you could be here with Jason and his gorgeous artwork. So from me and Justin and B and Jason, thank you and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.